There are two specialized trim panels, for the lack of a better term, inside Premiere Pro CS6. There's a thing called the trim monitor that came with Premiere Pro CS 5.5 and earlier. And in CS6, there's a new thing called the trim mode, and the trim mode resides inside the program monitor. It may be a little confusing at this point. I'm going to show you both of them, and then I think you're going to settle on using the trim mode, the CS6 version. So to follow along, let's go to the working files, go to projects, and open up the trim mode monitor this way. We have these bike riders again. We've got 5 clips on the sequence, and we're going to look at the 2 ways that you can trim in these specialized windows. First of all, let's look at the trim monitor that came with Premiere Pro CS 5.5 and earlier. The way you access that is by going Window, Trim Monitor. There it goes, and opens up this floating panel for the trim monitor. And it shows clips where your current time indicator is presently located. I want to go someplace where I've got 2 clips, one on each side of that point. So I just press my down arrow and it goes to the next edit point here in the sequence. Now we have 2 clips side by side. And inside the trim monitor, you can see that you've got the ripple edit tool there, and if you put it in the middle, you've got the rolling edit tool. So this is kind of a large way to do ripple edits and rolling edits at an edit point. You can't, let's say, do a trim here at the end or a trim at the beginning or ripple edit at the beginning or the end, because you go here to the end and nothing happens. It doesn't turn to the left here or turn to the right over here. So you're working only at this edit point. So if you want to do a rolling edit here, you get a sort of a bigger view. I can slide it left like this so we can watch these folks coming up along here, going by, and look at the little in and out points rolling down here as I go along. They're changing. As I go to the right, the edit point goes into the clip on the right and extends the one on the left. There they go. That's the rolling edit right there where those 2 guys come together. Now I really want to have this clip here just end right there and have the clip on the right start showing that shadow a little bit earlier. So the rolling edit tool is not really helping me here. So I'm going to go to the ripple edit tool and go like this. I'm going to actually make this longer. The ripple edit tool can actually pull the clip and make it longer. So I'm going to pull this guy a little bit farther so I get them just going off screen like that. This one here, I want this one to start a little bit later where they've already come on screen, so I can roll along here a little bit. Use the ripple edit tool till just before I see that shadow showing up there. So now I've used my ripple edit tool here to get this edit where I want it. And now if I want to fine tune it, I can use the rolling edit tool to just make it start earlier or later, but the timing will be right. And once I think the timing is right, I can preview it by clicking this little play button down here, and it'll play that edit. There we go. That works for me. So when I click stop, it goes back into the trim mode. Now, rather than dragging left and right, if I use these buttons down here and click that, it'll move things forward 1 frame, meaning it's going to lengthen this clip on the left-hand side and shorten the clip here on the right. This in point's going to go to the right. This out point's going to go to the right. Here we go. Boom, a little bit at a time. I'll go 5 at a time, and it jumps like that. So you can do these precise edits if you want to. You can go backwards as well, back 5, and make your edits that way. So this is how the old trim monitor worked. It's not like it's a bad thing. It actually works pretty well. But the trim mode in CS6 is just a little bit better. It has a little more functionality. You can do regular trims inside it. Plus, it's built right into the program monitor, so it doesn't create this sort of separate window like this. It's kind of nice to have it built right into the monitor. So I'm going to close this one down by clicking on the X. Now I want to move to another edit point. So I'm going to move near an edit point, not necessarily on it. And what happens when you press the T key, the T shortcut key, it'll jump to the closest edit point. So here it's going to jump right to that edit point right there. So if I press the T key to open up the trim monitor, boom, it jumps to that edit point, automatically puts a rolling edit point there. You can see the little rolling edit, that sort of rectangular thing there. And there is the trim mode. And you see blue lines top and bottom. The blue lines along the top and bottom mean that you are in the rolling edit mode. You're going to affect both clips if you click plus or minus 1 or 5. This one in the middle here adds a default transition between the 2 clips, and we're not working with transitions just yet, so we're not going to worry about that at this point. So if I want to do the rolling edit, I can click +5, and you can watch the time code here. This time code is the original time code that was taken off of the flash memory card that these guys were shot onto. So this time code shows the time code for the original clip, not the time code down here in the sequence. So if I click 5 here, it's going to move into this clip from the left. So it's going to cut into it and make it 42:14. It's going to cut into it. So it's cutting out the 5 frames that preceded 42:09, or 5 more frames deeper into the clip. We've added 5 frames to the end of this one. So it's going to go 204:29 when I click this again. Here the in shift is 10 frames to the right. That's what the plus means. And here we are doing an out shift 10 frames to the right as well. We can go back a couple, and now we're back to 0. I can move the in shift left now. This is now left 10 frames. This is now left 10 frames. We've made the one on the right longer. Up to this point, we've been using the rolling edit tool, but we can also use the ripple edit tool just as we did in the trim monitor. If I want to work on just one clip here, if I want to, let's say, shorten or lengthen this one, I can click here. If I drag it to the right, I'm going to make the endpoint go into it, so it'll be shorter. If I make it to the left, I can actually make it a little bit longer until I run out of head frames. But there we are, just changing that individually. And you can see the blue lines are only along the top and the bottom here. If I go over here and click, you'll see the blue lines shift. I can do it this way. When I finish my edit, I'm going to shorten it up here so that it gets shorter, the clip gets shorter. Look down in the sequence, the second clip where the yellow ripple edit is placed, and you'll watch it jump to the left now, like that, because I shortened it at the end there using the ripple edit tool. If I want to just trim, I can shift to the trim tool. I need to use a keyboard shortcut to do that. I go Shift T. Shift T cycles through all the various modes here. Shift T goes, that's the ripple on the right. And you can tell it's ripple on the right because it's the yellow down here in the sequence. I'll do Shift T again. It'll be now trim on the left. I'll do Shift T again. This is going to be trim on the right. Shift T again. We're back to the rolling edit tool. Shift T, we're going to be ripple on the left. Shift T, ripple on the right. So you just cycle through as you go to Shift T, Shift T, Shift T, Shift T. So let's just take a look at that one more time. To get out of the trim mode, you simply press the T key. That takes you back out. But there's another way to get out too if you press T to go back into it. All you need to do is deselect this edit point just by clicking away from it, and that takes you out of the trim mode as well. I'm going to move this guy a little bit to the right here, get the current time indicator away from that edit point and get it closer to this one. Press T, it should jump right to this edit point. I'll go T, jumps to that edit point, gives you that rolling edit tool again. I'm going to go over here and roll it back left and right like that. If I want to, let's say, extend the clip on the right, I can pull it into the clip to the left. It doesn't actually pull it into it, it just makes this clip on the right longer by extending its endpoint. That's a cool thing about the ripple edit tool. You can actually sort of push against the clip to the left, and in fact you're extending the clip on the right. Now watch down in the sequence where the yellow ripple edit tool is pointing to the right. That clip will suddenly get longer because I've extended the endpoint. See how that works? I can also extend the clip on the left here into the next clip. I'm not covering it, I'm just pushing things to the right by taking my ripple edit and pulling to the right now, like that. And I'm going to make this clip longer. So watch that clip there with the ripple edit tool pointing into it, the third clip end. When I let go of the mouse, this clip will extend to the right, pushing the clips after it to the right as well. Here we go. See how that works? So the ripple edit tool works like that, both here and here. If I want to, let's say, extend this clip here, I can make it longer by pushing it to the left. I'll switch over to the ripple edit tool by holding down the control key. I can push it like that, and that actually will make it longer and shove everything to the right. So that's one other use of the ripple edit tool. So that's how you use the trim mode inside Premiere Pro CS6. You can always switch back to the trim monitor from CS 5.5, but my thinking is why do that when you got everything built right into the program monitor here, plus you have the option of using the selection tool. You can then Shift T through all the various commands, and you can watch things happening down here in the sequence as well.